and his wife, Catherine Boland, are suing Richard's son, 26-year-old Timothy Graves, for attorney fees, as well as anger management and AA classes.
Order. All rise. Now, it's case number 561 on the calendar in the matter of Graves, Boland versus Graves. You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Graves, this is your son.
Correct.
And you are?
His stepmother.
How long have the two of you been married?
6 years.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Graves?
I'm a facility manager.
And you?
I'm a human resources manager.
Who else lives in your home with you?
No one else.
And how old are you, Mr. Graves?
26.
You got yourself into trouble. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Your father says that he paid for attorneys for you on 2 separate occasions. One because you got yourself into trouble, and the next time because you wanted to see your son. You have a son.
I have a daughter.
A daughter. And there was a problem with visitation. So your father and stepmother helped you get a lawyer. He wants that money back. And he says he paid for anger management classes, which were a condition of your probation, even though that was a minor amount of money. I think you just threw it in. It was something like $65. You've probably spent more on him at dinner.
True, very true.
Right. Okay. Mr. Graves, why don't you tell me about the first instance where you retained an attorney for your son?
Timothy was arrested on a violation of a restraining order and tried twice to gain a release.
When was that, Mr. Graves?
April, I think, or March, somewhere around there.
It was March 19th, and he was trying to get bail and was denied bail once. And
Denied any bail?
Denied bail.
Is this the first time you've been arrested for domestic violence?
Yes.
Was it a bad case of domestic violence?
No, ma'am.
And they would not set bail for you?
No, they wouldn't. Long story, no, they wouldn't.
Well, give me the cliff notes of the long story.
The judge I was going in front of wouldn't release anybody on a violation of a protective order charge because he had released somebody on a violation of a protective order charge, and they went back to their wife or something like that.
And killed him?
Yes, ma'am.
You only burned him once.
That's all you had to do.
So you were released when, was it your girlfriend?
Yes.
Filed for a protective order, but then when she alleged that you violated the protective order, he said, okay. What was the nature of the alleged violation, Mr. Graves?
Me and her got into an argument over the phone.
Over the phone? So
over the phone.
She alleged that you threatened her over the phone in
Yes.
violation of the order. What'd you call her for? It's not an answer.
I was over at my friend's house, and we were just talking, and I just found something out, and I didn't like it. So I called her and confronted her about it. She really didn't like that.
Well, because it's a violation of the protective order.
Yes.
Right. That's why the judge didn't let you out. So you tried twice to get bail, and you were twice denied bail. Then what happened? Look at me.
My father basically took it upon himself to get me out.
You didn't have a discussion with him?
I talked to him several times while I was in jail, and
Did you at any time say to him, do something, help me?
I had said help me, but he once again told me to go forth with the public defender, and it just wasn't working.
And so you didn't have a subsequent conversation with him?
About
Did
getting
he?
me out?
Yes, the public defender tried for the second time to gain bail and was denied. And at that point, I imagine it looked hopeless in his opinion, and literally begged me, calling from jail, to please hire an attorney to get me out of here. I need to get out of here. Please do whatever you have to do to get me out of here.
And?
And I made that understanding very clear at the time. My wife was on the extension that if I do this, this will just be a loan. I'm not giving you this money. Pretty much if it was up to me, I would let you stay in jail to learn the lesson. So that was the condition.
Is that what you said to him?
Yes.
And what did he say to you?
Anything you can do to get me out.
When your father retained the attorney for you, Mr. Graves, was the attorney successful in securing bail for you?
Yes, ma'am.
How much?
I'm not sure of the amount. I don't know the
Who
amount.
posted it?
I guess my father did.
There was no bail. It was a habeas corpus trial, and he was released.
So that despite the fact that the judge said, I'm not setting bail for you, the judge is required to set reasonable bail in order to secure your appearance. So the judge got his wrist slapped, right?
Yes.
Whatever happened with that case, Mr. Graves?
It was, went through with court and everything, and I got put on probation, and it was dropped. I think I actually got time served.
Listen, if it goes through court and everything and you were put on probation, then it's not dropped. If you put on probation, it's because you were convicted. Either you were convicted after a plea or you were convicted after a trial. Did you take a plea?
No, the second-degree assault, the first charge, why I got put on a restraining order, that I got put on probation for. The violation of protective order, I got time served. That's done and over with.
So you assaulted your girlfriend.
In the sense, yes.
How many senses of assault are there?
There's a wide range.
Well, give me your range.
A cell phone at the ground and it bounces up and hit her.
Is that what she says happened or what you said happened?
That's exactly what happened.
Listen to me. Is that what she claimed?
Yes.
And how injured was she?
Not really. Any scratch on the head. Our daughter was in her room. That was the main problem.
How old is her daughter?
Our daughter's 18 months now.
So you threw a cell phone at her, you hit her in the head, and she got a gash, and your 18-month-old daughter was in the room.
Sleeping, yes.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
And then you heard something else that you didn't like, so you called and threatened her.
Yes.
And then she said to you, you're not getting visitation with this child because you have a bad temper.
No.
Well, an attorney was necessary in order to secure you visitation with your daughter, is that right?
Yes.
If your girlfriend wasn't complaining about your conduct, there wouldn't have been need for an attorney. You could have arranged for visitation without the necessity of having an attorney.
That's what we had.
That's what you had what?
That's what me and her had. Even after I got released, I had my daughter every weekend.
And then what happened?
We just had a falling out, and it got to where it needed to go, where I had to go to court.
Do you have visitation now, Mr. Graves?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
I have her every single day during the week and every other weekend.
Is that because you work nights?
Yes, ma'am.
And child's mother works days?
Yep.
And that's by court order?
Yeah.
And that was secured for you through the attorney that your father paid for?
This is, well, yes, but me and my ex came to an agreement outside of court.
It was secured by virtue of an attorney
Yes.
that your father got for you.
Yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Richard Graves says his son, Timothy Graves, owes for attorney fees from 2 separate arrests.
Okay. How did it come about that your father got you that attorney?
Because he saw that it was,
Don't tell me what he saw. There had to be a conversation.
we talked about it,
Well, that's what I'm asking you. What was the conversation?
that I had to do whatever I had to do to get my daughter.
Well, what was it that you had to do, Mr. Graves?
I had to go through court.
Right. And?
I had to hire a lawyer.
And?
And he knew that I didn't have the money to
Don't
pay
tell
for
me
a
what
lawyer.
he knew.
I didn't have the money to pay for a lawyer.
So what did you say to him?
I need your help.
And what did he say to you?
Okay.
Now, Mr. Graves, first tell me when this was that you advanced money for the second lawyer.
This was on June 8th.
Had he paid you back any of the money that he owed you for the first lawyer?
Partially, yes.
He did?
Yes.
How much did he pay you?
$315.
What did you pay him the $315 for, Mr. Graves?
I never had any recollection that I paid him the $315.
Well, tell me what you claim he said to you with regard to paying you back for the second lawyer.
We actually found that lawyer as a reference from the first lawyer that was hired. Timothy and I went to his office, sat down, gave him an overview of the case. And I asked Timothy, is this the person you want to hire? And he said, yes. I said, you realize that this is just going to add to what you owe me.
How much was the second lawyer, sir?
All told, $3,000.
What do you mean all told?
There was an initial $2,000 retainer that I put down in June, and then later on there was another $1,000 they requested.
And how much did he still owe you from the first lawyer?
$300.
So he owes you $3,300,
Correct.
not $3,360.
The 60 was for the anger management.
class.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I paid for the anger management classes out of my own pocket.
I'm asking you about the lawyers.
He knew my financial situation. He knew I didn't have any money to pay for any lawyers whatsoever. But it kind of came up as it's their granddaughter, too. If I don't get to see her, they don't get to see her. I figured that's why they were helping me.
Are you working now, Mr. Graves?
Yes, ma'am.
Did your father throw a telephone at your girlfriend in front of your daughter?
No.
Did your father pick up the phone when he wasn't supposed to make contact with your girlfriend and threaten her?
No.
Was it because of your father's conduct that you were denied any kind of visitation with your daughter?
No.
Whose fault was it?
It's all mine.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,300. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think it was a little unfair.
It's exactly what we were looking for Judge Judy to let him know this is what you need to do in life.
It's all settled. I want to get our relationship on and continue on and move on.
I'm hoping we can put this behind us, move on.
We can be a father and son.
Don't lend money to any member of your family that you're not willing to lose.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Turner versus Cisneros, Boo, Mesa, step forward.
19-year-old Damel Turner is suing his former roommates, Chris Cisneros, Sarah Vu, and Mackenzie Mesa, for breaking their apartment lease.
Mr. Turner, which one of these young ladies was your girlfriend?
The one on the far left.
That would be you. You are Miss Mesa?
Yes.
According to your complaint, you and your girlfriend and the co-defendant and his girlfriend, also co-defendants, you all decided to set up housekeeping together and lease an apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
You moved in with your girlfriend, he moved in with his girlfriend, and you all signed the lease.
Yes, ma'am.
And then very slowly, one by one, they all took off.
Yes, ma'am.
Did that give you any cause to pause, Mr. Turner, that there might be something wrong with you? Is not an answer.
No, ma'am.
There was never any indication that something was wrong with your behavior.
No, ma'am.
Seems odd, doesn't it, that they all moved out and left you there alone?
Yes, ma'am.
In any event, your lawsuit wants them to be responsible for the rent for the remainder of the lease and for when they left. And they say it was because of your conduct that they all left, that there were problems in the apartment precipitated by your behavior. And they're counterclaiming because they say that there is some property that was in the apartment and they want moving expenses, which you're not going to get. Be lucky if you don't get hit with rent. Don't be stupid about your moving expenses. When did you sign the lease, Mr. Turner?
June 21st of 2008.
Was it a year's lease?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had you and Miss Mesa been dating?
A year and a half now.
Had you lived together previously?
No.
Were you working?
Yes.
Had you been friends with them as a couple, or were you friendly with one of them?
I knew Daymel from work.
What work?
We work at a Round Table pizza place.
When did you move out?
I moved out in, the 1st of January this year.
Where did you go?
I moved in with my father at his place.
And when did you move out, Miss Vu?
The second to last week of November.
Why did you move out?
Chris and I broke up a few days before our 4-year anniversary.
Now, when you moved out, who paid November's rent, your share of November's rent?
I had already paid my share of November's rent, and because I was moving out on such short notice, I gave Chris my share of December's rent in cash.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So you fully paid for December.
Yes.
When did you move out?
I moved out at the end of November.
Why?
I moved out because I felt that
Look at me. Don't look over there.
I felt that it was not a good environment for me to be in at the time, and
Like what?
Well, my schoolwork was going down. I was depressed. My family was asking me to come home, and I felt that that would be a better environment for me.
I don't hear anybody talking about his bad behavior. You had a lot to say in your answer.
Well, one night, especially like where I felt like it was like definitely a sign that it wasn't a good place to be at anymore, was a week before Chris and I broke up. We were all like hanging out at our apartment, and we had friends over, and it was probably really late, like really early in the morning, around 2. We were hungry, and so we decided all to go get something to eat.
Could we get to it, please? I have places to go.
Mackenzie wanted to come with us, and Daymel decided not to let her, but and she went anyways, and so he was really angry. When we got back with the food, we were all sitting on the couch eating, and Mackenzie was sitting on the edge of the armchair, and Daymel came out and was like lecturing her, and she rolled her eyes, and so he walked up to her, grabbed her by the neck, and threw her down onto the ground from the armchair of the couch.
That was in November. Mm-hmm. Did that happen, Miss Mesa?
Yeah, to an extent that happened. We did have our fights where they would escalate sometimes.
I can understand fights escalating. I don't understand physical violence during an argument. Did you do that, Mr. Turner?
No, what happened was...
Listen, I don't want to go through the food and the couch again. Did you put your hands on her?
Yes, I shoved her.
Well, you can't do that.
I know. What happened is she...
How much after that did she leave?
That actually happened in October, and she left at the end of November. It was because we were having a party, and like we all had like a couple of drinks, and...
I don't care why.
Okay. What happened was that I came and yelled at Mackenzie, like, why'd you leave? We're supposed to...
I don't care.
Okay.
You can't put your hands on anybody. Was that the first time he ever put his hands on you?
No.
Was it the last time he put his hands on you?
Yes.
All right. So far, the two of you are responsible for rent, because you can't just leave. Being unhappy with your environment is not a reason for you to break a lease. Breaking up with your boyfriend is not a reason for you to break your lease. Now, you left in January. Mm-hmm. Did you pay January's rent?
I did not pay January's rent.
And you left when?
I left it, I would say, the 1st of January.
What kind of discussion did you have with Mr. Turner about the rent on the apartment?
The beginning of December, I told him that I wasn't going to be able to pay January, and that I was going to go and tell the office that it was, time for me to leave. I was going to put in my notice. Damel asked me if I could give him the notice and wait till he got a roommate, and then put in my notice at the beginning of January.
Did you have that discussion with him?
No, ma'am. He told me he was going to move to Australia with his brother, that he was going to keep paying rent until he decides on what he was doing.
Well, that was back in December. That's what he's saying. And he said that you had that discussion.
Yeah, this is December, but it's getting close to January, and he's told me that he's going to still keep paying rent until he figure out what he was going to do. He never, ever gave me any, formal or told me exactly when he was going to leave or ever went to the office and let them know either. So I can never actually get a roommate because they're all still on the lease, and the apartment won't let me put a new person on the lease until they're all off the lease.
Did you take your names off the lease?
I had signed the paper to get my name off of the lease, but I don't think it ever went through because I needed signatures from everyone else as well.
What about you?
At this point, when I went to go try and get...
The answer is either yes or no.
Yeah, but Damel's the only one who can sign us off.
Did you get your name off the lease?
No.
What about you?
Nope, still there.
Fine. So they owe January and February so far. How much is your share of the rent?
$283,725.
And how much were you paying in rent?
$286.
And you?
$286.75.
You each owe him $858. January, February, and I'm throwing in March. Yours is less. $849. By the end of March, sir, if you don't have roommates, I suggest you do something else. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, moving expenses on your counterclaim is out. You moved, so who cares if you move? Only he cares if you move. What property do you have there?
A queen-size mattress, a CD cabinet, a shelf, and a stereo.
Is it still there?
Yes, ma'am.
When do you want to get it out?
ASAP.
Fine, within 5 days?
Yes, that's fine with me.
Anything else?
I had a rice cooker.
Why didn't you take it with you in November?
Because...
It's not an answer.
all our things were still mixed up together, and I couldn't find it at that time. And when I went back to get it later, Damel had already changed the locks on the apartment.
When you pick up the rest of your stuff, pick up her rice maker. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Awesome.
Một ngày luôn đôi trôi qua trong lòng câu nỗi đau bùa vây từng phút lặng thầm anh dõi theo em từ xa chẳng dám chạm tay vào hạnh phúc em đang tìm em là ánh sáng anh không thể chạm là giấc mơ anh mãi không thể làm nỗi buồn hóa thành giọt nước mắt anh chỉ biết yêu trong lòng im đau đớn em cười bên ai anh biết dặn lời những mũi dao đâm vào trái tim ra rời anh đứng phía sau chẳng dám lên tiếng chỉ biết lặng nhìn để nỗi đau riêng em là ánh sáng anh không thể chạm là giấc mơ anh mãi không thể làm nỗi buồn hóa thành từng giọt nước mắt anh chỉ biết yêu trong lòng im đâu nói em tim anh sâu giọt nước mắt rơi yêu em mà chẳng thể nói thành lời đã biết rõ trái tim em không hướng mà lòng vẫn yêu chẳng thể nào buông.
Keep paying rent until he figured out what he was going to do. He never ever gave me any formal or told me exactly when he was going to leave or ever went to the office and let them know either. So I can never actually get a roommate because they're all still on the lease, and the apartment won't let me put a new person on the lease until they're all off the lease.
Did you take your names off the lease?
I had signed the paper to get my name off of the lease, but I don't think it ever went through because I needed signatures from everyone else as well.
What about you?
At this point, when I went to go try and get...
The answer is either yes or no.
Yeah, but Damel's the only one who can sign us off.
Did you get your name off the lease?
No.
What about you?
Nope, still there.
Fine. So they owe January and February so far. How much is your share of the rent?
$283,725.
And how much were you paying in rent?
$286.
And you?
$286.75.
You each owe him $858. January, February, and I'm throwing in March. Yours is less. $849. By the end of March, sir, if you don't have roommates, I suggest you do something else. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, moving expenses on your counterclaim is out. You moved, so who cares if you move? Only he cares if you move. What property do you have there?
A queen-size mattress, a CD cabinet, a shelf, and a stereo.
Is it still there?
Yes, ma'am.
When do you want to get it out?
ASAP.
Fine, within 5 days?
Yes, that's fine with me.
Anything else?
I had a rice cooker.
Why didn't you take it with you in November?
Because
is not an answer.
all our things were still mixed up together, and I couldn't find it at that time. And when I went back to get it later, Daymel had already changed the locks on the apartment.
When you pick up the rest of your stuff, pick up her rice maker. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Awesome.